Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. I'm doing another rant today, this time on Triple A game publishers and some of the things I have seen around YouTube and some of the complaints against Warner Brothers. I'm here to kind of defend them just an itty bitty bit, but also tell you why Triple A games in themselves are probably going to be a dying breed and why the game manufacturers decide to pull such bollocks sometimes with the DLC and hope to understand it. Like I said, I don't think the AAA market's going to last too much longer as it is without some changes. I don't know if it will come in the form of a soft crash, as in just something better will come along for these publishers to try out that makes people happier, or if it will be a hard crash, as in, the AAA game market crashes and most of it goes away, only the best rise with better business practices, but it will go away. Okay, first off, I've already talked about Sega. My main complaint about Sega and Sonic Mania isn't that they stuck in Denuvo, it's that they did it without telling anyone and then forced people who were Steam users who bought the game into accepting it without a refund due to a really cheap bonus gift, which was the original Sonic the Hedgehog. The original Sonic the Hedgehog is a good classic game, but it can be found anywhere and everywhere for dirt cheap. It's not anything to really get that excited for and wasn't much of a pre-ordered gift, especially when you're sticking people with a DRM they won't like. So Sega has the right to be fired on. As far as WB and their mini microtransactions for the next Lord of the Rings game, I have yet to play the original. I purchased it during the Steam Summer Sale, but I have yet to get around to actually playing it yet. But I hear it's pretty good, and I understand its fan base. That said, WB seems to be really micro DLCing the heck out of it, and it's pissing people off, and I don't blame them. In order to get upgrades, you have to pay cash, and it's a freaking gambling system. Who wouldn't be upset? So why do game developers do this even if they know it upsets people? And here's the problem. To make that 4K 60-hour game with a huge overworld, it takes a lot of money. Unfortunately, developers can't charge more than $60 because that's where the market rate is, or at least they're afraid to. They're afraid if they go up to 80 or 90 for the basic game, people will walk away. So how do you make up that extra money when you really can't make a profit at 60? You stick in DLC, and DLC on its own is really good if it's good DLC, if it adds something more to the experience to an already full experience. Unfortunately, this generation, DLC has gotten to a point where it's a buzzword for add-on crap that you either A, don't need, or B, should have been included in the game you purchased for $60. And it really annoys people. And it's getting to be such a problem where I think, in a lot of cases, people are getting turned off on AAA games. And like I said before, you can't make money at $60, and they're already overworking their developers and their programmers. I don't know how many stories that have to be spread around the internet, whether it's Rockstar, whether it's Ubisoft, whether it's Konami, of all places, basically treating their programmers and their game makers like they're third world sweatshops with some of their stories that you hear. That's where you would think would happen. So they're eventually going to have problems coming up with good talent because the game industry, my friends, is changing and changing for the better. While Steam Greenlight may have had its problems, indie game making is becoming big and it's becoming bold and really powerful. With games like Dust and Elysian Tale or Axiom Verge or Five Nights at Freddy's done with either very small groups or single people sometimes, making really award-winning games, I don't think there'll be much demand in AAA games, and hopefully that will scale back some. What I do think will happen to these AAA publishers is I think eventually making those 4K games will hopefully become a little bit cheaper, and as digital distribution becomes more popular, cutting out the middlemen as well as the need to make plastic cases and putting them on disc. Hopefully the cost for that will go down too, and we will see a different market, one where there's a little less pressure to make these really big games and make these tight schedules without any quality assurance too, because that's something that's also a lot on the Triple A games. You buy them at launch and you pretty much volunteer to be an unpaid beta tester. That's also pissing people off as well. And that market will eventually change. Like I said, we have Steam now. They have their own area for beta testing if you want people to pay to be beta testers without fully launching. We have independent games, and we'll eventually come out with where people who have better quality control on their games and less DLC, at least crappy DLC, will be rewarded, and eventually those will be the ones that prosper. I just don't see a future in these AAA games. I've just seen too many of these games, as they've changed over the years, see the death of franchises that weren't big enough to be modern day AAA because of what these publishers want to push. I'm talking about the Mega Man, I'm talking about the Castlevania series that I loved so much a decade ago, not even getting made anymore. And like I said, it's because of that. And when you can't get good game franchises to even compete in this whole high risk, low reward market, it's just going to fade away. It's not if, just a matter of when and how. And I hope it will be an easy transition to something else that will be better for gamers, but I just don't see this market sticking around. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to this rant. I'm sorry if there's any audio problem. I'll check out what my mic's feedback level is, but Audacity seems to say it's going all over the place. I apologize for that as well. I'll see you guys next time.